Hey everybody, welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, Kaitlyn Bristowe. Today we have Priscilla Block on the podcast, who I have now become obsessed with. I was already obsessed with following her on social media because she's real, relatable, vulnerable. So are her music lyrics. She's a platinum-selling country music artist, kind of mixed with rock and roll. I just love her whole vibe. And she talks about like the high highs and the low lows of how she got to where she's at. We even had to go get her a tissue at one point. She's just a sweet soul, and here she is.
Man, tears. Oh my God. Are you kidding me?
That's good, right?
Stop it right now. Like, absolutely legendary.
I thought you might like that one.
Yeah. No, that is me to a T. Mm-hmm.
Drink them up.
Drink them up. Drink them up.
Anyways, thank you for coming. I'm so glad you brought an entourage because I can't tell you how much I feed off an audience.
Oh my gosh. A round of applause from the crew.
Tell us who you brought today. I'm like, how do I get to travel with an entourage like this?
Oh my gosh, I have got my squad, which you see like a lot of girls. We've got quite a few girls on my team, which is something that's really awesome. Yeah, like it's really funny. Like whenever we're touring and like we're out with like dudes or what, they're like, you bring all the chicks. Yeah. Like, and I'm like, heck yeah, and they're all hot too.
All of them.
I know, it's great.
You're like, you have to be a 10 to work for me.
Well, it's like cool. Like, I mean, a lot of the girls that work with me, I've known them for so long, and like they know parts of me that like even I forget about in interviews, and they're like, oh, Priscilla shared this thing, like whatever. So
that's nice.
I'm like, y'all come on, let's go.
It's so funny. I'll show up, like I'm trying to think of a like bigger show I did one time, and they're like, are you just by yourself? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, you're the first person that's ever showed up without like a team. And I was like, oh shit. And then I felt unprofessional.
No.
But I like that you travel with a team. It's good.
Listen, it's kind of nice to be like, just sometimes you'll say something, then someone's like, you probably shouldn't have said that. And you're like, oh, well, I just get rambling, you know?
Extra set of ears. That's
just
the
an
thing.
extra set of ears.
Actually, you guys can go because you're the people that when I like have a good conversation and at the end they're like, could you edit that part out? I'm like, that was the clip.
No, I'm like, I'm pretty what you see is what you get. And I'm sure you're going to hear that in this interview. But yeah, whatever you want to talk about, let's go. Let's get spicy.
Well, we're going to start off nice and easy. I'm going to lube you up into the tough stuff.
Okay.
So, I was thinking about it because you like travel with this like group of women. And you grew up in a pretty tight-knit family. Did you have sisters?
Mm-hmm.
You did. How many?
So I'm one of 5 kids.
Yeah.
Big family, bunch of girls, 4 girls, 1 boy.
Oh, wow. That's a lot of estrogen.
It really is.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It really is. But no, I feel like there's been always so many like strong women in my life.
Yeah.
And like when I got signed and everything, it's really cool that I've got to like bring some of the girls that I've had kind of from the start all along. Like, I got a girl in my band, Sarah Jones. She plays guitar for me. So cool. And like, we just like, we started writing songs together from the start. So like we got awesome dudes too. But having a squad of girls, it's like, it's cool.
Unless you're all on your period at the same time.
Yeah, then it gets sketchy. Really, especially in a tight bus.
Oh.
Because listen, we're not at the point where I got my own bus yet.
Oh, we'll get there.
Yeah. Well, we will get there.
Yeah, we will.
But right now, everybody linking up on the periods.
I did that on the Dancing with the Stars tour bus.
Yeah. How sketchy.
I feel like dancers, they were always like, hey, I'm on my period and this is how I'm feeling right now, so I'm just gonna go take a knee, and they like would know, and then we'd all like get on the same page and just cry together instead of being bitchy. We'd just cry together. Oh,
well, see, we do that too, but like we'll start feeling it out. Like one girl's crying, one girl's like having a full breakdown, one girl is like, and then I'm like, wait, my period started today, and they're like, oh wait, my period started like this morning. And then I was like, oh shit, I just got my period. And like the guys are like, oh my God. It's fun though.
Women's bodies are wild,
dude,
man.
They're so wild, but
they sync
awesome.
up like what?
Yeah.
And we would cry because we would all be like changing in the change rooms, and like sometimes we'd just be naked crying. Like I
love a naked cry sesh.
It's I'm so exposed and vulnerable, but I feel like that's what really, gets the most out of me.
Yeah, listen, you got to just take it all off. Get
it
all out.
I always look at my guests too for like validation. I'm like, right?
Yeah.
I'm like not moving on. I'm like, please give me a nod of validation. Is your whole family in music, or are you like one of 5 that only does music?
I am the only one that's done music.
That's crazy.
My mom kind of, I wouldn't say she like forced it upon me or anything, but she really encouraged it. She was like, Priscilla, like,
because she knew you had
something that you, find something that you love to do. And they put me in piano lessons, and I would sing at church and stuff like that. But my mom kind of really was the one that that really encouraged it. And I hated piano. I hated playing the piano.
Yeah,
and
I did too.
She's like, pick up the guitar. You can bring it wherever you go.
Yeah.
And I found a guitar in our attic growing up and
started playing?
I started playing guitar.
Did you feel like it was in your blood, or did you feel like you had to like really figure it out? Because some people, I feel like they've just like, oh, I can pick it up and I got it. And other people are like, I know that took me 20 years to get 4 chords down.
So I feel like since like the day I was born, I've been loud and had a big personality and all of that. So like I think the artist side like really makes sense. Like it did not shock anybody in my family. Yeah. But no, like I've always loved music, and it was really like the thing that I clung to growing up, just songs and finding myself in music. And it was really like when I wrote my first song, and that was actually on piano. And I'm like, I think I might be able to write songs.
Oh, how old were you?
I was 15.
Imagine at 15 figuring out like what you're good at. It took me till I was like 35 to be like, I think I should be a host of a podcast.
No, like, oh my gosh, no.
But at 15 being like, I think I can write music. That's pretty cool.
Well, I couldn't. It was the confidence that really like kept things going,
I was gonna say, because I had a question in here of like, what do you think it takes to have that star quality? Because there's people that are just born to be performers. They're born to like move out of their small town and do something big. And then there's people who actually are just happy, living this little bubble. Like my sister, I always say she's so happy and she loves her kids and just being at home. And she never really wanted to go leave our small town, where I was like, get me the hell out of here. Yeah. And I was going to ask you, like, what do you think it was about you? Is it your star sign? Is it your mom? Is it your like siblings? Like what made you have that grit to be like, I'm going to go after it and I can do this?
God, I mean, that's a really good question. Like I said, I feel like
it's meant to be a podcast host.
You are a star, honey. Don't let nobody tell you different.
I like to think so.
No, I felt like, right off the beginning, again, I loved music. And then when I, wrote my first song and that kind of moved a little bit, I was like, man, like, could I like do this? Yeah. I really think, there were people around me that supported me and were like, yeah, if you want to move to Nashville, do it. But like, it really like, I feel like it was like kind of just something in my gut that was like, I really think that I can do this. And I think once you start like performing and getting some feedback, people are like, wait, Priscilla, you're like kind of good. Yeah. And I'm like, that's all I look back and it was all trash, but like it made me feel confident in it. And I really just had this like thing in my gut, and I'm like, I want to be an artist. And I'm going to move to Nashville. And I packed everything in my Chevy Malibu and I moved to Nashville when I was 17 years old.
I always love those stories. I feel like that's a good old country like singer story, like I packed everything in a car and I moved and I did it. But where did that confidence come from? Just from the feedback? Like, or did you, I guess you said you knew it in your gut. Have you always been an intuitive person?
Mm-hmm. Very much. But, my parents, like, they're just go-getters. My dad, they're just like, you work for what you want type people.
Yeah, that's
and cool. Like nothing was handed to me growing up. Like my parents are very much like, you want to go to college? Great. You're going to put yourself through college. Like
cutthroat.
They're very, but supportive in a way.
That's
like
great.
You go and do whatever you want, but like we had to work really hard for the things that we had. And I think seeing my dad and just the way that he's lived his life, and my mom, like, I think it comes from them, like my parents.
That's what's in your blood. I feel like, maybe because sometimes people come from a family of musicians, but that grit is probably just in your blood of like working hard and being intuitive and knowing what you want to go after.
Yeah.
And to know that at 15, I'm never going to let that one go.
I thought it would be really awesome when I was 15.
Wait, how old are you now?
I'm 29.
And at 17, you moved to Nashville. When did you go viral on TikTok?
2020.
Oh, it was 2020. Okay. So you moved to Nashville. Tell me, from 2017 to 2020, were you like doing gigs? Were you already touring? What were you doing in those years?
So I got to town, just started the thing.
Yeah.
And like Nashville is a lot different now than it was back then, obviously, as you can imagine. I'm like, all right, I know this is going to be tough. And I kind of came into it not in like a fairy tale world, like, oh, I'm going to get signed overnight. Like, I'm like, I need to start meeting people, start writing songs, start booking shows, do the thing. And so I started really just doing the Nashville thing. I would go out and meet people. I had a fake ID. I would like try and get into like any writer's round that I could. And like, I would go back and I'd meet people and be like, I saw you last week. Like, I would love to write with you, and just really put myself out there. Started building a band, kind of playing all over Nashville. And then, you know, that kind of moved to touring.
Yeah. And then everything went skirt when it was 2020.
And it went skirt. Yeah. It was really skirt.
It was a triple skirt.
It was scary.
And so you're like, well, I got to take it to TikTok. Or did that just happen?
It just happened.
Ah.
Yeah.
People try and go viral to have moments like you, and there's songs out there like that. What was your reaction when it started happening?
Right before I guess I went viral online, which I feel like that word is like so used now. It's like, oh yeah, I went viral. But like at the time, there was not country artist really on like popping off on TikTok. Right. It was a dancing app. People were impersonating the Kardashians, and like, I mean, I was learning the WAP in my kitchen.
Yeah.
Like there wasn't a lot of at all country artists breaking. Mm-hmm. So I really didn't even know what I was doing. I had just gotten evicted out of my apartment.
No, why?
Because I was broke. I was very broke.
What?
So, yeah.
Wait, triple skirt. You were broke in 2020.
Yes.
How did that happen?
Like I said, moved to Nashville, did the whole thing.
Yeah.
And like I was working any odd-end job that people would let me.
Yeah.
When the world shut down, I was cleaning Airbnbs.
Wow, good for you.
And I had just gotten to a point where I was playing in the bars, and that's how I was making my money.
So you must have been terrified that your career was over.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Like when I said like truly, I mean, I wasn't able to play in the bars. No one was traveling, so I couldn't clean Airbnbs. And before you know it, I was like 4 months behind on my rent.
Oh, no.
And so June of 2020, I got evicted out of my apartment. Evicted, kind of evicted. They were like, all right, it's time to go.
Yeah.
I think at the time, like they weren't like allowed to like, there was a lot of regulations on COVID and stuff. Right. But like, yeah, I basically got evicted out of my apartment, and I moved into this little shack in Nashville. Wow. And TikTok is this brand new app.
Yeah.
I'm posting videos, I'm singing, I'm like kind of just doing whatever. Like, again, it was never like, I'm like, oh, this is going to be the app that I'm going to go viral on, you know?
Right.
And
it wasn't on your bingo card.
No, I would just make videos of me singing in my house, in my apartment, and then things kind of started happening. And I started seeing this traction, and I'm like, wow. Yeah. Like, could this be some way on how I get put on the map? Yeah. Like, so I just kept feeding it. I didn't even know what was going to happen. Yeah. But then I wrote Just About Over You, and it was really the song that just exploded.
Well, it's a great song.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It changed my life, like, overnight.
Wow. And you were probably, I find that everybody's always on the brink of giving up, and then something happens for them where they're like, wow, if I didn't give up, I wouldn't be here.
No, it's so true. And like, I say that like at my shows, like, I'm like, there are so many people like going through stuff that we just will never be able to comprehend, or you just don't know. Yeah. And like, even with my story, like people are like, oh, she lucked out and went viral online. And I'm like, you know, you don't have to explain it, but it's just such like hopefully it encourages people to just keep going. Like, I would have never thought that my life would have changed overnight. And I'm so thankful it did. But I thought it was over.
Well, and in the middle of the struggle, you had a encounter with Taylor Swift where she pulled over on the street to chat with you.
Yes.
What the
I know. Crazy, like, right?
Please tell us more about this moment.
Okay, so a huge reason why I like moved to Nashville and like decided to just do it. When I was younger, I would research like the people that I really looked up to, and Taylor Swift was a big one. And I'm like, what did she do? Okay, she's in Nashville. Like, I'm gonna move to Nashville, do the thing. And I've always been like a big Taylor fan. And it was about a year into Nashville. I was working at a yogurt shop. This is when jobs. Yogurt shops were like everywhere. Poppin', you know what I mean? Yeah. Everywhere. So I was working in Hillsborough Village in Nashville, and I was going to community college at night. So I'd work 9 to 5 at the yogurt shop, and I'd go to class from 6 to 9. And that morning, I had called my sister. I remember it was raining in Nashville, and I'm on the phone. No one's coming into the shop. I'm like, I think I'm going to go back home. Like, my life's falling apart. And she's like, Priscilla, if you want to come home, you haven't failed. Just come back. We can restart. You can figure out what you're going to do. And that day I'm leaving work, and Taylor Swift was driving by, and I happened to be wearing her tour t-shirt.
Stop it.
and she saw me. I was wearing the red shirt.
I just got body chilies. What?
Crazy. And I was leaving. She was driving by and pulls her car over.
What was she driving?
She was like driving like some you would have never known.
Honda Civic. Like, so humble. I love her.
Yeah, like something, I don't even know, like a 4Runner or something. It was so not what you would think. But yeah, she pulled over, she hopped into her passenger seat and was like, hey, like, I love your shirt so much. And it was so weird. Like, I don't know.
No, that's serendipitous.
No, it was like God.
Yeah.
Like, don't leave. Stay where you're at. Keep doing what you're doing. You're on the right path. And like, I was just like, oh my gosh, like, thank you so much. I was like, you really just don't know how much this means to me.
Yeah, I would have shit my pants.
I think I did. Yeah. I think I shit my pants.
Yeah,
no, it
honestly.
was like, it was crazy. And I never told her I did music. I was just like, thank you so much. And
I would have been like such a thirsty bitch. I would have been like, so I had the song that went #1 on Apple Music one time.
After I'm like, I totally should have like really like laid it out there.
No,
but
she
like,
probably loved that
it
little
was just
moment.
everything that I needed to keep going. And that was the day I went to class that night. I quit my job and I quit school. And I was like, I'm going to go figure out how to do this. And it literally lit a fire in me.
Have you talked to her since?
All thanks to Taylor Swift. I got flowers. I actually got to share this story at the NMPA Awards. They were honoring her that year. And I opened with a Taylor medley. And I shared the story. Cool. And the next day, she sent me flowers. And I was like, what? This is awesome. Like, so she's heard the story. Like, I've obviously haven't seen her face to face. But it really just, and it was such a moment too. Like, I've learned so many things from like awesome artists. But like, to take the time, like you're Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
To take the time to stop your car, and she, was as big as can be, because you see a fan like supporting you.
I think that's why she is where she is. Because she's just a good soul.
No, she is, and she cares about her fans. And like, that's why we're here. That's why I get to do what I do, is because there's people that care.
Yeah. Wow.
Full
circle.
So it was really cool. And actually, like, full circle moment, not long ago, I was shopping during the day. We were on tour with John Party, and we were pulling into the venue, and I saw a girl walking with a safety vest on that had Block Party, and like she had made the safety vest, for the show. And I got to pull over in the Uber, and I was telling the Uber, pull over. And she's like, wait, what? And I'm like, please. And my best friend's with me, and I was like, oh my gosh, I love your safety vest. And she's like looking at me, and I'm like, and then we got back in the car, and Kara was like, isn't that wild? Yeah. Like, Taylor Swift did that with you, and now you can do that with other fans.
That is
like,
really wild.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I always love a full circle moment. It's like my favorite thing when people tell me full circle moment stories.
Yeah.
And that's a good one. It's a new year and it's time to prioritize you. What better place to start than with your skin? That's why I always love talking to you guys about Dime Beauty. Founded by a master esthetician, Dime isn't just skincare, but it's your ultimate self-care upgrade. From skincare and beauty to body care and fragrance, they've got everything you need to feel refreshed and confident. If you're like everyone and you want simple but effective skincare, you have to try the Work System. It's a complete routine, cleanser, toner, serums, and moisturizers all in one. No guesswork, just healthy glowing skin. Plus, I'm obsessed with their Dewy Day Cream. It leaves my skin just super hydrated and fresh, especially it's so cold and dry in Nashville right now. These winter months will get you. So when my skin needs a little extra love. And here is the best part. Dime is all about clean ingredients and sustainable packaging. So you can treat your skin while caring for the planet. With thousands of 5-star reviews, the results speak for themselves. Revive your skin and give yourself a routine fresh that you deserve. Go to dimebeautyco.com today. That's dimebeautyco.com. dimebeautyco.com. This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Now, who hasn't played the budgeting game? Let's be real. Shifting money around, crossing your fingers that it all adds up. Well, Progressive has a tool that makes budgeting for car insurance way easier. With a Name Your Price tool, you just tell Progressive what you want to pay, and they'll help you find options that fit your budget, basically like having your own personal budgeting assistant for your car insurance. So why not take the stress out of budgeting? Head over to progressive.com and give it a try today. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law, not available in all states. What is something from your childhood that you still carry with you to this day, whether it's like a lesson, a memory, family tradition? Like, what's something that you carry on with you?
That's such a good question. Yeah, girl. You really really prepared for this interview.
I always do.
Something from my childhood that I'll always take with me. I mean, I think it kind of just goes back to like, if you want something, you got to work hard for it.
Yeah.
And it's like, luck happens, yes, but that can be gone really quick. And it's like, if you don't want it more than anybody else.
Yeah.
And like
somebody else will go get it.
Yeah. Like even as a new artist and like being a musician and all the things, like you have days that you're like, is this thing even like, is this working?
Yeah.
Like, but if I let that like consume me and I let that self-doubt just like sit there, then that will like take away from like, you know, me getting to where I want to go.
Yeah,
and like
everybody gets in their own way. Really,
during those times, I have to like focus on where I'm going and where I want to get to. And I saw that happen all the time growing up with my family, and we went through really hard times. And so it's like you got to just keep going, put your blinders on. No one gives a shit.
Yeah,
but that's like the reality. Like I hate to break it to people, but it's like, no one gives a shit, and you have to make people give a shit.
I like that.
You know?
Put that on a t-shirt.
You gotta make people give a shit.
Yeah.
And if you don't care, how are you gonna make other people care?
She just took us all to church. That's good.
Are we at church?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I honestly think we might be, because that was, I went silent for a second.
I don't even know what I said. I blacked out. Well, I was really in the moment.
Guess what? It's recorded, so you can go back and watch if you'd like to.
Tears. Here we are.
While you sip your man tears.
I'm blacking out on man tears right here.
It's straight vodka, that's why. Just kidding. It is 3 p.m.
What? Dry January.
Are you doing Dry January?
No.
Oh, me either. I saw this hilarious like skit somebody did on Instagram where they were FaceTiming their friends and asking will they do Dry January with them, and their friends are like, is this a prank?
I saw that. I saw that. It's like, are you recording right now? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, I thought that was so funny because I was like, I'll do like a moist January where I'll just like cut back maybe.
Yeah.
But I don't care to do a dry one. I actually think that's more stressful on your body to just quit than it is to just like cut back. Like I wouldn't do that to myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, I want to talk about your 3 dogs.
Yes.
Okay, so what are their names? Because I know one is Bruce.
One's Bruce. He's wild.
Yeah.
He's the baby. We got Arrow and Summer. Summer's my older girl. She was our childhood dog, which is actually really sad. She's like definitely on her way out. No. So all the puppy love I'll take.
Okay, I also read I guess I went backwards and now I'm going forwards again to TikTok. But I read that a fan on TikTok started a GoFundMe page to get you money to record songs at an actual recording studio. What?
Okay.
Cool.
Yes. So when the
world just keeps being like, no, bitch, you're being a musician.
I know. It's like, it truly, and that's what keeps me going. Like, I really feel like all these things don't happen like just cause.
No, like you said earlier something about luck, but I think luck comes from like actually believing and manifesting and knowing you're supposed to be somewhere. Like that's when luck happens. It's not just like, oh, it fell in your lap.
So I built this like super strong community on TikTok, and it really was just people that were raising their hands for me and were like, dude, you're like really talented. Yeah. Like, let us help you.
Yeah.
And when I wrote Just About Over You, I made a video of that song. I'm in my car, like just singing along to it. And I swear I was like the first girl singing songs in my car, and it's okay. It happens a lot.
I'm like, welcome to the world of TikTok where everybody copies you. Copies everyone.
But anyway, I had just written Just About Over You, and I was like, guys, I just wrote this song. What do y'all think of it? And it became the storm on the internet, and everyone's like, when is this song coming out? Oh my gosh, like, when are you putting this out? I'm like, I legit wrote it yesterday.
Oh my gosh.
And like, this isn't like, you'll see videos where like, I just wrote this song, and you're like, no, it's actually dropping in 2 weeks.
Right.
Like, no.
Yeah, you actually.
This was like a real thing. There was no formula.
Yeah.
I think there's a formula now, but it really was just in real time. And I was like, guys, I wrote this song. What do y'all think of it? And there was a girl out in California who started she was like, we want to come together and help Priscilla record this song. Wow. And so fans really all over helped me record Just About Over You.
Wow.
And
wow.
I'm just like so passionate like about my fans and the people that have like really helped me out to get here, because I just like feel like the luckiest girl. I feel like I could cry.
Oh,
yeah,
like, I could see tears in your eyes.
Like
that's
it's
really
just
sweet.
But it's so true. It's like if people, again, people you gotta want it,
Yeah.
you know? And like the fact that like so many people show up at my shows in the safety vest, and like some girl started a GoFundMe and was like, we believe in you, like let us help you. It was during a time that I really needed it.
Wow.
Like, cause I had nothing.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, the fact that you worked in all these like yogurt shops, cleaning Airbnbs, had to move out, you got evicted. He's like, I'm also a therapy dog.
Girl, I'm from the streets too. I get it. It's like he gets it.
Oh my God. That's so beautiful though, because I feel like not only did you create this community on TikTok of like music lovers, but also people who loved your unapologetic, like authentic self, which is so cool because we all see so many people try way too hard on the internet, and it's so refreshing to have unapologetic people out there. And I feel like that's how you also built the community that you have. I'm such a big believer in like you said about Taylor Swift, like your fans, like your community is everything.
Yeah.
And I love the community that you've built because it is built on your talent, but also your personality. And what is that like to be so honest and raw and open with people on the internet? Like to be that, I think that's really hard for people.
Yeah. I think that's kind of all I've ever known online. Like with, you know, kind of how I got discovered, it can be really hard.
Yeah.
Like you get it.
Yeah.
It's like if I had to do what I do, which I get to do. It's really awesome. It's really awesome that I get to just like be me.
Yeah.
And I think that like from the start, that's kind of what people loved is like the realness. And I'm like, well, this is just me being me, you know? But like, I do think that the way that, you know, as you get more exposure and just more eyes on you, it's easy to like want to hide and like not share so much. But like, I think that being real with my fans and like where I'm at in my life, like it's nice. I can't imagine having to be something that I'm not. Like I'm already kind of exhausted. That would be really exhausting.
Yeah, I agree.
So I kind of just keep it like what you see is what you get. And
well, because you want also people to come to your shows and be like, that's exactly what I thought it was going to be. You know, it's always my biggest fear for people to meet me and then start a Reddit thread about like, she was such a bitch in person and she wasn't what I thought. Like that, I'm like, that's my fear because anyone that listens to the podcast, I want to like hug you if I see you in person.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, you know, I understand that fan support system where I'm always like, I don't even call them fans. It's like, to me, I'm like, you're like friends that I don't know.
Yeah. No, it's people that like support you. They're ride or dies.
Yeah, they are ride or dies.
You know, if someone's talking shit, they're like, they're like, what did you say?
Yeah.
Come on, me and our dog are pulling up right now.
That's what I call my listeners the Vinos because I'm like, I swear to God, they're the only reason I won the Mirror Ball is because they were like ride or dies for me.
Well, yes, but you deserve it.
Oh,
like,
okay, yeah, that's true.
No, you do. You do.
Thank you. I need to remind myself that sometimes.
Come on, don't discredit yourself, sister.
That's a good point. Let's talk about your debut album, Welcome to the Block Party. You said that this album really represents everything that makes you you.
Yes. Well, at the time. Yeah.
When did you record it?
So I put out Welcome to the Block Party, 3 years ago? It was about 3 years ago. It's so funny because like that really did represent the time that I was at, you know? There's party songs and there's the breakup songs and there's all of that, but it really was true to kind of like where I was at that time of life. And I think that album really kind of helped like me figure out my sound and like where I want to go. And you know, being a new artist, it really takes a second to like figure out like your thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Especially if I mean, I only know this because I have friends in the music industry, like especially when you have either an album or a label or somebody like trying to put you in a box and trying to tell you what to sing and how to sing it. I feel like that would be really hard.
Yeah. Luckily, I've had a really strong team.
That's great.
From the beginning.
Yeah.
And when I got signed, I'll never forget Cindy Mabe from Universal. She looked at me one day. We were at a recording studio. I just got signed. I was brand new and I was like a walking like train wreck. I mean, seriously, I had duct tape on my shoes when I met with my label. When I met with my label for the first time, my high heels were being held up by duct tape. Swear to God. And
That's
they were
incredible.
Like, they were like, is this girl good? And I'm like, honestly, they're my favorite shoes and I still got some wear on them. So I had duct tape on my heels.
That's incredible.
Yes. And I remember she had told me, she was like, Priscilla, she's like, never let anyone in this building, anyone make you feel like you need to be anything but who you are. And really, like from the start, that kind of just gave me a sense of peace.
Yeah.
And being like,
imagine a man saying that to you and
right?
in that world, they'd be like, I don't feel like they would.
You're like, you don't want me to change any part of me? That's really awesome.
Be who you are. That's the nicest thing someone could ever say to you in that world.
So I think from the team aspect, like my team has been really, really good with being like, Priscilla, do you. Like if you want to throw out party songs because you're in that phase of life, throw it out. If you're like, I'm writing a breakup song, screw it. You know, you're doing that. If you want, it's just.
Well, it would be on brand for you to not be like just doing what you want. Like I feel like that's who you are.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's fun. Like just, you know, again, being able to kind of just put out songs about just like kind of where I'm at in my life and having creative control.
This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Let's talk about 2025. What do you want your story to be? I feel like January kind of gives us this 365 blank pages book. And this year, maybe you're ready for a plot twist, perhaps. Or maybe there's a chapter of your life where you've been wanting to revise. Life just isn't about resolutions that fade away by February. I feel like it's about taking the pen and becoming the author of your own journey. And that is how therapy can come in. It's like having an editorial partner for your life, whether you're working on setting boundaries, building positive coping skills, or just looking to become the best version of yourself. Therapy can help guide you. BetterHelp makes it easy. It's fully online, convenient, affordable, with access to over 30,000 credentialed therapists who specialize in everything from stress and anxiety to relationship issues and more. And if your first therapist isn't the right fit, you can easily switch at no extra cost. So write your story with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/Vine to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Vine. Okay, I'm going to put you on to a little something, a hot tip, if you will, from one big wine guy to another. If you are going to drink wine in any amount, a glass, a bottle, you need to be drinking one that's low sugar. High sugar content in wine is the main culprit for hangovers, and a high sugar wine is not good. Nobody's got time for that. So next time the mood strikes for a nice, crisp glass of vino, pick up a bottle of Spade and Sparrows. All 4 varietals are low sugar, made in California, and of course, female founded by yours truly. You can locate your nearest bottle today by visiting spadeandsparrows.com/in-store. All 4 Spade and Sparrows varietals are honestly crowd pleasers. I don't think we've gotten any bad reviews. They're super easy drinking. It's what I drink for wine. And of course, like I said, all low sugar. Find Spade and Sparrows in the wine aisle at Target in Florida, Texas, Georgia, Ohio, Oklahoma, Louisiana, or various other retailers across the U.S., or shop online at spadeandsparrows.com. And of course, my little vino community, you can use code OFFTHEVINE to receive 15% off your first order. Spade and Sparrows, great wine without the rules. How do you stay grounded in being vulnerable while having so many opinions from either the internet or teams or people like in your life? How do you stay grounded and vulnerable without like losing it? I find like sometimes I have to check myself because I'll like lose myself to being like, oh shit, everyone's doing these skits on Instagram. Like I have to do that. Or this is happening on TikTok. I have to do that. Or this is getting other people. And I'll start to like try and fit into what is going viral instead of being like, no, you stay true to who you are. How do you do it?
I think it comes down to, you know, kind of like what you see in front of me. Like you see a strong team. I think having like the right people in your life that can like really like check you. And this, with what we get to do, it's like, it's everyone, we all change, but like having people in your corner that have been there kind of from the start, that's like, hey, Priscilla, like not long ago, like your car was held up by duct tape. And so were your high heels. And like today, you're pulling in with a car that runs, that's great. That's actually paid off. And you don't have duct tape on your shoes.
They're fired.
You know, like having people around that can really like put that perspective when you don't feel it, because no one feels like confident all the time. No one feels secure all the time. Like that's just being human. So I think keeping like a strong community around you that like really gets that, that's part of it. But like I have those days where I'm like, am I where I need to be? Like, is this thing working out? I have those days, but it's just really just like leaning on the people that you trust.
That I agree with you, because I was thinking I'm making a new vision board downstairs, and the first few weeks of January, I was like, I don't want to do anything this year. I want to like lay in bed and be depressed and nobody talk to me. And then I was like, who's that? That ain't me. But I allowed myself these like few days to just like, oh my gosh, Kaitlyn, be I wasn't depressed, but all my emotions were like mimicking depression.
Yeah.
I couldn't get out of bed. I wasn't feeling motivated. And all I needed to do was take one workout class. And then I was like, because
I'm ready to take on the world. We're doing this. You're sending out 47 messages to your team, and they're like,
just needed a
wow, it's 7 a.m.
Yeah, no, I really did just need to like do a pump.
Yeah, no, dude, I get that. I feel that so much because, you know, I've really been working on like my health and, you know, definitely like getting outside and like going for a walk and like pushing yourself to get a workout in is really, it is hard to do. But if you do it, you will walk out there feeling like a completely different person. I also, this is something my mom kind of taught me like growing up, but I write in a gratitude journal every morning.
Oh, I've lost it a bit, but I need to get back at it.
I try to do every morning and just write down 10 things every morning that I'm thankful for.
Yeah.
And it kind of sets your day up. And even if like, you know, there's times where I do start feeling insecure, I'll get in my thankful journal and I'll be like, I'm so thankful that like I have a job. I'm so thankful that I can pay people to work for me. Yeah. I'm so thankful that I have a house. Yeah. Like, you know, like all the things that, you know, it's sometimes just so easy to get in your own way. And like, I try that. And sometimes you just need to be a piece of shit. Oh, you know, like order the Taco Bell takeout, like sit on your couch and watch trash TV for like 2 days. Yes, and you're good.
That's what I did.
And someone might have to come and check on you. And if they do, you're like, yeah, I'm definitely not good. But you want to sit here and be a piece of shit with me too?
I looked at my dogs one time and I was like, God bless you for not judging me, because I literally ordered McDonald's. I watched trash TV. I did not get out of bed. You
have to do that.
And I would like get out to like take them on, you know, because I'm building a pool in my backyard.
Yeah, you are, girl. I'm coming over.
Yeah, anytime. I literally built it because I love having people over.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I have to take them on a walk, but that helps me because I'm like, I have to take them on a walk, and then I go outside and move my body, and then I get fresh air, and then I'm like, oh, I'm not depressed. Yeah. And that was how I felt coming out of that workout. So I was like, I'm going to do this vision board. I was doing my vision board and I went, wait a sec. I remember doing a vision board when I was 30 and I'm 39 now. And I was doing this vision board and I literally had this house on my vision board. I had a pool in my backyard. I had 2 dogs and I had my own podcast studio. And it was I don't think podcasts existed when I made it, but in my head, I wanted a radio show.
Yeah.
So I had and I just was like, hey, I had to be my own hype man for that second. And I was like,
you did that shit.
You're here.
Yeah.
It took 9 years, but you're here. And like, that's what people don't realize when it comes to working hard, manifesting, praying on something, building something. It doesn't just happen overnight.
Yeah.
And it takes, like, you have a lot of grit and patience and like passion for what you do. And I think that's so hard for people because there's some people who are just refining themselves at like 50. And that's totally fine.
Yeah.
Because I just feel like for me personally, I've been my happiest in the last 2 years, I would say.
Yeah.
And people would probably look at my life or social media and be like, oh, I wish I had that or this or that. But I was like struggling for a while behind closed doors.
Yeah.
And then I started being a little more vulnerable on the internet about that. And then I found an even better community for people who were like, oh, that's real. That's some real shit. Mm-hmm. And then I started seeing the power in that. And I feel like you picked that up pretty quick.
Well, it's just, you know, with everything, like there's good to it, there's bad to it. And I think, you know, when we were coming up, everything was just really manufactured. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I think social media has like kind of brought in this like real thing. There's obviously negative sides to it, but you can kind of see people like in their real state. It's like not everyone's done up all the time. Not like just because they're on the TV and they're, you know, doing whatever. It's like we all put our pants on the same damn way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's it.
Yeah, I know. At the end of the day.
Yeah. So that's awesome though that you've like opened up more.
Oh, it's like now I'm like people know too much.
Dude, same. Literally same. My team is like, girlfriend.
Yeah, leave something to the imagination.
Leave things to the imagination.
I say my heart and my home, like with relationships, like if I'm dating, if I'm like having I'm like keeping that private, and my home. Everyone's like, give a home tour. And I'm like, nope, I'm keeping those 2 things sacred for me.
Good for you.
Everything else, you can know what kind of toilet paper I use. You can know when I wiped. Like, I'll tell you everything. But those 2 things, I'm like,
yeah, it's your your safety. It's your home.
I had a girl on my podcast once who she calls them inside treats, and just keep those for yourself.
Yeah, I love that.
And so, but I love that you also share everything, and I admire that you are like so open about your health journey. You were just saying you've been working on that. Physically, mentally, what does your health journey look like for you?
So I went to, which you can find the post, I kind of posted about it on Instagram. I went to New Zealand at the beginning of 2024.
Okay.
And right before I got there, I was in the UK, and I got really bad food poisoning. And I'd never been sick like that. Like I could barely walk. I was crawling to the bathroom. I was just I've never felt more weak in my life. Yeah. And so I went to New Zealand, and New Zealand's just like such a spiritual place. Yeah. And I remember I was sitting on the beach, and like I was like crying. I was like reading like, who knows? I think I was reading a Colleen Hoover book or something. Yeah. And I was like crying on the beach, and I was just like so not good. Yeah. Like so not good. Yeah. And like I totally get like what you mean when you're like just us talking about like, again, the whole manufactured thing. It's like you almost feel robotic a little bit sometimes. Yeah. And I kind of felt like I was there, and I don't know, I hadn't felt good, and I kind of was just journaling, and I'm like, I really want to spend this year working on me. It might not be my biggest career year, but like this is my time to work on me and be good, so I can continue doing this for my career. Because like I'm not good right now. Not now. No, now I'm good.
You just looked at me with tears in your eyes, and you're like, I'm not good right now. And I was like, shit, does she need a break?
No, I wasn't good earlier this year, and I don't know, I kind of just had to take a second to kind of pulse check myself and be like, I need to do some like self-work this year. Yeah. And I came back from New Zealand, and I really started honing in on the working on me. And I said in the post, I'm like, I'm done. I'm starting to say no to things that don't make me happy. Yeah. And don't make me feel good. And whether that's people, whether that's certain food, whether that's alcohol, whatever it is, if it doesn't make me feel good, it's a hell no. Yeah. And so that's kind of what I lived by this year. And I really started like putting my health first. Yeah. And started walking a lot. Walking kind of led to running. I've never ran.
Oh, I can't. I can only do a berries, and I can like barely get through that because I'm like, I can't run.
I have never ran. Growing up, that was like one thing that's been like a very, I don't know, it's just something I've always thought I couldn't do. So I kind of like made challenges for myself to like keep pushing. And this is actually really funny. Not a lot of people know this, but growing up, so I went to high school with Braxton Berrios, Alex Earl's boyfriend.
Yes. Okay, I was like, why do I know that name? Yes.
And so me and him were always like in the fitness challenges together. He's like a football player, okay? Because Berrios and Block, so we were right next to each other for like mile runs, pull-up contests, like anything like that. And so it's so funny. Like I think growing up, I'm like, well, I can't even do a single pull-up. And he's running like a mile in like 5 minutes. And I'm like,
you're like, look
I'm
at me
sick.
now, Braxton.
Like truly like, blow dryer, hair dryer on the face. Like I would be sick on the mile runs. I don't know. I think I've kind of always struggled a little bit with like, you know, self-image a little. Yeah. You know? And I feel like kind of my weight has always just been something that I've always gone up and down with. And this was kind of just my year to like be like, I'm going to start making healthy choices. Yeah. And so it's still like a process, but.
Well, it's for you. It's not for like, well, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like you get in this mindset of like, you're doing it. Some people would do it to lose weight. I feel like you're doing it to feel good.
Yeah. Well, and it comes back down to like being real with people on where I'm at, and like kind of just having that moment. Like, I don't want to put on a show that like I have to have this like big personality when I'm really not feeling that way. And it was hard to work on, but it's been cool to like share that also with my fans and being like, this is what I'm focusing on right now. And I did. I shared it kind of all like, guys, I'm gonna try and run a 5K. I've never done this, and so I showed the whole thing for a month of like building up to the 3 miles, and I hope at the end of the day, it's like whether it's my music, just really just who I am, like hopefully you impact people's lives in a positive way.
What are you the most excited about for 2025?
New music. I feel like, you know, we've talked about a lot on this podcast, just like kind of that 2024 was kind of like just like my self year. I feel like I am like ready to just run through barricades in 2025.
Yes.
Like, I am ready.
That's awesome.
Like, I want to do everything, and I feel like I've been writing like the best music I've ever written.
See, and it's because you had a year for you.
Yes.
It's because you're like, I gotta say no to things, because to be able, and taking care of yourself,
Yeah.
that's going to put you on the right path and align you with all of the right high vibrations.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening now.
So it's been a second since my first record, and this year I am excited to say that I'm going to put out an album, and
Yes.
I've worked really, really hard on it, and it's been a piece of art that I'm so excited to share with people
Yeah, I
that,
bet.
you know, explains kind of where I've been at in my life over the past couple years. And so that's really exciting. Like, there's a whole like creative piece that, you know, I haven't tapped into, you know, in a while, and
Yeah.
it's nice
Yeah.
to do that. So I'm really pumped for that. I'm excited to go
That's
out on the
cool.
road and like start doing like more headlining shows and all of it. But like, I am ready to take 2025 by the balls, okay?
Yes!
Come on, we're ready. I don't know what we're
Peto's
doing, but yes, he's like, I'm with
He's
you,
like,
sister.
same,
where we
same.
going?
He felt your energy. He was
Yes.
like, okay, she don't need me no more.
Yeah,
She's not
she-
crying anymore. I'm out of here. He's like, my emotional support work is done here. Okay, last few questions before we wrap up. If you could collaborate with anyone dead or alive, who would it be?
There are so many people that I would love to collaborate with. I would love to do something with Jason Aldean.
God, I love his music.
Like I grew up on Jason Aldean. Miranda Lambert would be really awesome.
I could see that.
Yeah. I mean, the list goes on.
Yeah.
Like you know, if
There's a lot of powerful female country artists that like have really done things, some
Yeah.
big things.
I would love to do something with Lainey.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we've had, you know, similar things in our career where, you know, we've kind of got to prove people wrong.
Yeah.
So I would love to do something with her. I just think she's amazing.
I always make people do, so that room right there will be a confessional booth eventually.
Okay.
Where people have to go in and tell a confession, and it's
Okay.
going to be all like cameras and lit up. There's curtains in there right now, but I'm not quite finished yet. But every podcast I make somebody tell me a confession of something embarrassing that's happened to you that you've never shared before.
Okay.
I feel like you'd have a good one.
Gosh, I'm trying to think of a story that I haven't shared before because literally everyone
that's-
knows everything.
same.
Okay, there was this one night in Nashville. This was before like I ever got signed or like anybody really had any clue who I was. And I go to the bar, and I'm named after Priscilla Presley.
Oh, love.
Yes. Love that. So anyways, we go to the bar, and there is an Elvis impersonator.
Yeah.
This guy, he's dressed up as Elvis. And somehow we get to talking.
Yeah.
And he's telling me, oh, like, I'm in the music industry. Like, I should have known.
Oh.
Right? And at that point, I'm, like, trying to take advice from anybody. I'm like, yeah, like,
You're like,
is
yes,
there anything?
Elvis.
Thank you, Elvis. What can you tell me? Like, give me some advice, like, whatever. So we're talking, and there was, like, some, like, switch that kind of flipped with him that night. And I don't know if it was because I was kind of, like, questioning him, like, oh,
Yeah.
well, who do you work for?
Right.
What do you do?
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm just here to tell you right now. He's like, if you're trying to make it, he's like, you need to lose at least 30 pounds.
No, he didn't.
Oh, yeah.
Did you
And
spit in his
there's
face?
like a fire in his eyes. My dad was sitting right by me.
Nope. Oh, no. I'm fired up right now.
When you think you saw fire in me,
Yeah.
my dad almost went to jail that night.
Bless your dad.
It was, and my dad kind of sees my face. He kind of saw what he said. And he goes, he slides the drinks over. There was like a bunch of bottles.
I would have
and
flipped the table.
He goes, what did you just say? And he's like, I was just telling her, like, if she's trying to make it, she needs to lose 30 pounds. My dad, I was like, whoa. It was bad.
I would have done the same.
This dude went running, truly.
Good.
And I'm like, my dad's going to kill him. My dad is going to kill him. So I grabbed my dad. I called an Uber or a taxi at the time. I don't even know. I threw my dad in that Uber, and I was like, we need to go. And my dad was fuming the entire time. It was pretty embarrassing, but it was kind of iconic. I'm like, all right, well, if you know, things hit the fan, I need to call my dad because
I wonder where that Elvis is now.
Listen, my mom's always told me, she goes, never take advice from someone that is impersonating somebody else or isn't truly like authentic to who they are.
That's
like,
a great point.
Don't be taking advice from somebody that's like trying to be somebody else.
And also don't take criticism from people you wouldn't take advice from.
That's true.
I am not taking any advice
We have
from
gone
Elvis.
to church. Yeah, no advice from Elvis. That is, it's kind of a crazy story, but I kind of wish my dad would have knocked him out that night, but it's okay. Here we are.
He wanted to, and that was the intention.
Yeah, not Elvis giving Priscilla advice. Like, come on. Come on.
Tell everybody where they can find you, your music, everything, TikTok, all the things.
Yeah, it's just
Is
all.
TikTok still around?
TikTok is still here.
Okay.
Yeah, girl.
Okay, good.
Where have you been?
Well, I was on it, but I was like, I thought this was supposed to be gone.
I know. I kind of thought it. Yeah. Well, it's here for now.
Yeah.
So, y'all can find me everywhere. Priscilla Block. Yeah.
You are a good
We're on the road.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
No, it's. I always like your realness, your rawness. Your music is incredible, and you're just. I feel like you do have that. Like the world will always kind of test you, but always put you on the right path.
Yeah.
I just feel like you have that.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. Oh, what a great show.
Yay! We made it! Yay, Robin! All the puppies are here!
Has this ever happened to you?
I can't say.
Wait, I hope these aren't sunny side up for your sake, but oh, these are just sitting in my sweatpants the whole podcast.
The whole time.
Laundry day, at least they're clean.
Good luck.
Do you know that happened to me once when I was literally going on a bus to go to ballet class in Vancouver, and I was walking and dirty underwear was hanging out of the bottom of my sweatpants, and a girl was like, excuse me, and I was like, oh my God. Hey.
It's just a part of it.
I'm Kaitlyn Bristowe. I'll see you next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday.